Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our spiritual home, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. Our church is located here in the heart of the walkable Tarpon Springs Historic District and is known as the home of the Innes paintings. My name is Barbara Rosen, and I serve on our Board of Trustees, and today I'm serving as your worship associate. We're a church of many welcomes, and we offer a warm welcome to all of you who have joined us in person and on Zoom. This is a liberal community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. As such, ours is an active church, and everyone is invited to participate in any of our activities, whether you are a member or not. To learn more about events, our church calendar is on our website, uutarpon.org, or you can discuss activities with church members or our membership chair, who will contact you if we have your information. Our children are with us at the beginning of the service today, and we have faith formation programming available with our gifted leader, Jami Cruz. Children gather for their time together with her after the story. If you'd like more information about our programming, please contact Reverend Kristina or see Jami after the service. For those present with us in the building, we have connection cards available in the pews near the hymnals. If you fill one out and put it in the offering plate or give it to one of our greeters, we will be able to keep in touch with you. We are delighted to have Reverend Kristina Spaude leading the service today, and music is provided by our music director, Bonnie Whitehurst. You are welcome to sing along wearing masks to the hymns. Again, welcome.
This morning, a moment we have all been waiting for. We are bringing joys and sorrows back to the congregation, which is a much-loved piece of congregational life. This is a time when you will be welcome to share personal pastoral items briefly with each other. Joys and sorrows will take place at the very end of the service, when the live streaming has stopped. If you are here at the church, you will find cards in the pews that you can complete. Completed cards can be placed in the offering plate during the collection and will be given to Barbara Rosen to hold until after the service. If you are joining us on Zoom, you are welcome to use the chat to share your news. Then at the end of the service, Barbara Rosen or I will read the cards, and the Zoom facilitator will read anything that is shared in the chat. We will also have a time after that for you to come up for the mic and share items yourself if you would prefer. We expect this may be a little messy for the first few times, and if the process doesn't work as smoothly as we hope, rest assured we will change it up.
We light our chalice with these words from Amy Williams Clark. We gather in this time of uncertainty, full of unknown, and angst closes in upon us. We light this chalice with a flame that draws us together. With this flame, we cut through the darkness of isolation and are warmed by the fires of our interconnection. For this moment, this radical moment, we find certainty with knowable bonds of love and community. And may we all remember in our minds and hearts the tragedy from Buffalo and the suffering people in that whole area, not just at the grocery store, but huge communities that are suffering from the loss of their loved ones.
At this time, let us sing number 123 in the Gray Book, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Our story today is Blue Loon, which was written by Julia Cook. I'm a blue loon. I'm supposed to be a regular balloon, but it's just not I'm just not having fun like the others. I'm kind of dull, I'm kind of flat. My string is just tied up in knots. I have a case of the blues. That's why I'm a blue loon. I felt like this for weeks. I remember when I used to feel like a regular balloon. I was round, I was bright, and I was pretty happy. I used to have fun playing with the other balloons. They looked up to me. I even made little kids smile when I let them hold my string. Now I feel different. I just can't seem to float very high. Sometimes I can't even get off the ground. I feel empty. There are days when I feel like I don't even have enough air inside of me to hold up my string. Then there are a few days that are crazy days. I go from Blue Loon to Balloony Tune. My head fills up with so much air that I feel like I'm going to explode. I float really high. I talk way too much. I do really strange things. And then I crash. Some of the other balloons are worried about me. Pink tried to lift me up, but that didn't work. Green tried to tie me down, but that didn't work either. Yellow told me to put a smile on my face and snap out of it. I tried, but nothing changed. I know there are other balloons out there who feel like I do, but I still feel like I'm all alone. I finally told my mom how I felt. She gave me a big hug and told me that she loved me. Then she took me to see the wise rock. "You don't look so good," I heard the wise rock say. "Your string is bent, you have a dent, and you're wrinkly today. If I didn't know better, I'd say that you're depressed. Are you feeling blue today? Tell me, how's my guess?" "Actually, I have no idea what's wrong with me," I said. "I just feel blah." "Is someone being mean to you? Are your parents splitting up? Do you have to be the new kid again? Do you feel like giving up? Has everything you're used to changed? Has someone close to you died? Are you having a tough time keeping up? Do you always want to cry? Are you having a hard time fitting in? Is it tough to get things done? Do you feel embarrassment, shame, or guilt? Does it seem to you like you never have fun? Yes, I said. Some of those things sound just like me. I understand why you're depressed and why you feel so sad. Just hide under me for a little while, and then you won't feel so bad. You can talk to me if you want to. I'll make sure your voice will be heard. If you don't want to talk, that's okay too. You don't have to say a word. So I crawled underneath the wise rock and hid. About 15 minutes later, the rock told me that my hiding time was up. Your time to hide is up, my friend. It's time for you to move on. You can always come back. I'll always be here to help you when things go wrong. You need to go see the balloon doctor. He'll help you not feel so depressed. There are some things you can do for yourself to help you bounce back to your best. What can I do? I asked. Well, said the rock, you can start by deciding that you want to change. Do you? Oh yes, I would give anything to have things go back to the way they used to be, I said. Well then, you have to learn to believe in yourself. Go over and see the balloon doctor. He'll treat you and give you great care. He'll make you feel so much better. He might even give you new air. Then come back to me when you're finished. We'll talk more and figure things out. I'll teach you some tricks and help you to fix the things that you're troubled about. I went to see the balloon doctor. He was really nice. He checked me out from the tip of my string to the top of my head. Then he wrote me out a prescription for fresh air. The balloon doctor told me that some balloons are born with or somehow develop a slow leak. If I keep being flat, he said, I just might have to keep getting fresh air prescriptions for the rest of my life. I got my prescription filled, and then I went back to visit the wise rock. You're looking much better, the rock said to me, and you don't have dents anymore. But your string still has knots, and your face still looks blah. Your depression is not gone for sure. Let's work on the knots in your string first of all. Take this pen and this paper and write all the things that make you feel sad inside and the things that are messed up in your life. I took hold of the pen and paper and wrote and wrote and wrote. Each time I wrote something down, one of the knots in my string came undone. When I had finished, my string was not free. Now rip up your list and shred it to bits and then put it inside this jar. These things won't exactly go away, but you've shown me how strong you are. I don't feel very strong, I said. Most of the time, I feel like I have so much to do that there is no way that I'm going to be able to get it all done, so I just don't do anything. You have a case of whole pie syndrome, the wise rock said. You're just like a human who's trying to eat a whole pie in one sitting instead of just eating one piece at a time. What? Make a to-do list of what needs to be done at the first part of every day. Do one thing at a time and rest in between. Your list will show you the way. Every time you get something done, cross the item off as you go. You'll feel so good when your list is complete. It won't take you long to know that you can accomplish great things if you try, but you need to believe in yourself. You have to find hope and take baby steps and play with the cards you've been dealt. I pulled out a sheet of paper and made my to-do list for the next day. When I wrote it all out on paper, my list was a lot shorter than I thought it would be. Now think about something that's hard to do, the wise rock said to me next. Something you think that you'll never get through, even when you try your best. Well, I said, I used to be able to make little kids smile when I let them hold on to my string. Now I'm afraid that no matter how hard I try, I won't be able to float. My string will bend, and the kids will have to drag me around on the ground. Then I might even pop. Close your eyes, balloon, and imagine yourself the way you want to be. Bright, full, and happy with a very straight string. Then think, yes, this can be me. Tie yourself to me and pretend I'm a kid, then show me what you can do. Think positive thoughts. Believe in yourself. Hey, balloon, just look at you. Wow, I said, I can do it. Now go on your way, balloon, my friend. Go back to your life that you know. Have fun with the others and make a kid smile. Show everyone how much you've grown. Take time every day to smell the roses and smile at the sun. You'll start to see that even the little things can make your life more fun. Make sure you always get enough rest. Stay away from air that's not clean. Be as nice as you can to the other balloons and exercise your string. Like this, I asked? Yes, just like that. You'll still have days when you feel blah. It happens to everyone. But if your blah lasts for more than 2 weeks and it seems like you never have fun, if your air starts to leak and you go flat again, you can always come back to your rock. I'll give you a hug and let you hide out, and then I'll take you to go see the doc. Depression is sneaky, but now you know that you don't have to deal with it all by yourself. And so I said goodbye to the wise rock and ended up having a pretty good day, and a pretty good week, and a pretty good month, and a pretty good year, and we are going to sing the children to their classes, and as we do so, I'm going to light the flame of our community so that we can send our love with them to their time with Jami and Aurelis. And I'm going to invite both to come up and collect either the candle or the balloon to take with them.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the light of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. You may go.
You have the offering?
New parts are hard to squeeze in. Now's the time in our service where we take our offering for the work and welfare of this church. Ours is a free faith which must sustain itself financially. Please go to our website, uutarpon.org, and click on the donate button, or you may mail your offering to the church at 57 Reed Street, Tarpon Springs, Florida, 34689. For those of you with us in person, in the sanctuary, your offering will be, offering plates will be passed.
I will watch you in the darkness, show you I will see you through. When the bad dreams showing us all love can be. I will guard you with my bright wings. Stay with your heart learns to see all love can be.
In place of a reading today, one of our new members, Barbara Queally, will lead us through some exercises which she will introduce.
Good morning. Thank you. As the Reverend said, I am Barbara Queally. I call myself Barbara the Eighth here because there are so many Barbaras in this congregation, and it's wonderful and weird to be one of them. Thank you for laughing. Laughter releases endorphins in your brain, which decreases stress. I'm a master's level counselor since 1995. And I work with children ages 4 up through the elders. I work with couples, families. I have a telehealth private practice and also have an in-office practice in Palm Harbor. I'm well aware of May as Mental Health Awareness Month every year. I'm aware of mental health every day. And I welcome you to share with me this brief time when we're going to talk about and experience self-care. Self-care is just what it says. It is me taking care of myself, and who better to do that than me? I live with myself 24/7, 365, my entire life. And as some of you know, one of my favorite analogies around this is that no one knows what vanilla ice cream tastes like to me. I can use as many words, analogies, drawings as possible, but I'm the only one who experiences life the way I experience life. So one of my personal and professional dictums is to be my own best friend. And there's lots of ways to do that. What do I like and love to do? And how do I insert those into my daily life? And if I don't know what I like and love to do, I better get after it and make a list. There's a lot of talk out there about self-care in terms of treats. Going to get a facial or a pedicure or a favorite meal, but for me those things are very topical. They're very nice, but they can be expensive and inconvenient, and sometimes we don't have the resources and time to do that. I love salted dark chocolate, but when I'm feeling down, man, I'm not gonna have a bar of salted dark chocolate. That is just not good for me, especially every time I feel down or frustrated or sad or angry or anything. So there are a lot of other things that we can do to take care of ourselves, and we get to each create them, because as I say, we are each individuals. One thing I'd like to encourage you to do is to be very aware of what you're saying to yourself in your head. What we say to ourselves creates how we feel, and then we act on or react to how we're feeling. So there's an experience, a trigger. I have a thought about the trigger, the thought creates a feeling, and then I react to or act on the feeling. Sometimes that thought is not helpful and it's not accurate. And so we have a bunch of feelings that we're reacting to that really are irrelevant. So now I'm going to move on to the more experiential part of this chat. We're going to do some breathing exercises and some gentle seated stretching. Breathing is super important. And it's a funny thing to talk about because we all have to breathe. We'd die if we didn't breathe, but so many of us don't breathe well, properly. That's because we're stressed, we're sick, we have forgotten how to breathe properly. There's lots of information out there on how to breathe properly. So what I'd like us to do is, first of all, do some deep breathing while we're raising our arms and lowering them. So I'm just going to show you one time how this goes. I'm going to inhale on the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale. 2, 3, 4. If you're afraid you're going to bonk your neighbor, you're welcome to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in through your mouth, out through your nose, in through your nose, out through your mouth, any way you like. Okay? So here we go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. 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 Thank you. We're going to do a seated cat-cow now. Cow is when we puff up our chest, push out our bellies, and look up at the sky, and we breathe in. Exhale is when we collapse our bellies and put our spines out back, which is where they are, isn't it? They're out back. So we're going to do this 4 times too. And while we're doing cow, we'll inhale. While we're doing cat, we'll exhale. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Back to center, please. Please take a finger and a hand or a thigh or an arm or a cheek or your pet who might be on your lap, and very slowly draw a circle on your palm with that finger and feel what it feels like on your palm, and just focus on that. Very slowly. And breathe. This is a way to quiet our minds. There's so much going on out in the world, but I don't know that it really compares with what all is going on in our brains. Our brains need a break, and that's one simple way you can do that, and you can do it virtually anywhere. I'd like to take us on a visualization now. Please think of a place that is calming for you, a place you've been to or a place you like to imagine. Some people go to the beach, some people go to a mountain place, the forest, their beds, underwater. I have a great spot in outer space myself. And just close your eyes and please breathe. When we breathe, we oxygenate our blood, and our lungs, when we breathe properly, can send the message to our brains that all is well. So please fill your mind's eye, paint the inside of your eyelids with that peaceful place that you've been, that you like to return to, and breathe. And breathe. And please, what do you see there? What do you see there? Be very detailed in what you see. What do you hear? What does it smell like there? What does the habitat feel like on your skin? What's it taste like? And breathe. Thank you. Please come back to center. Oh, come back to church, excuse me. So let's do one more of those nice big deep breaths with our arms going up and down. Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Now, because I'm up here, I get to choose with you something that I like and love to do, and I'd like to invite you to join me. I love to sing, and Bonnie has very generously volunteered to play and sing along, and I'd like you to sing along with me, with us, to John Denver's Take Me Home Country Roads, the first verse and the chorus. And you can stand up, you can clap your hands, and just sing with joy in your heart. Are you ready? Okay, I'm gonna turn this off because I might blow you all out of the room. Ready? Oh, I better leave it on a little bit.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road.
Thank you. One more breath in and out. Here we go. Namaste.
Thank you so much for that, Barbara. Have to admit, my mind looks like my computer screen. I have multiple browser windows open with multiple tabs open within them, and sometimes it's really helpful to just take those moments and focus and be present. In my chaplaincy training, we learned about consent early on. Unlike in public civilian hospitals where a spiritual care department is there as much by grace as our ability to prove ourselves beneficial, as we said and used to take delight in saying frequently at the VA amongst ourselves, we were mandated by Congress to be there. According to Congress, spiritual care is a necessary component of holistic veteran care. And because we were required to be there, we were required to do spiritual assessments on every veteran admitted to the medical center within 24, 48, or 72 hours, depending on the unit they were in. Having covered the entirety of the medical center at some point, I can say there were 3 areas where chaplain presence was most likely to have the potential to be challenging: hospice and palliative care, substance use programs, and mental health. In any of these, our work as spiritual care providers could be fraught, as people who struggled with the respective issues often had a complicated relationship with God and/or religion. Of course, as chaplains, God and religion were our business, but in the broadest and vaguest sense. Our work was to support people in finding their grounding in their spiritual lives, offering prayer if desired, but also guided meditations, spirituality groups, facilitating peer support groups, teaching spiritual practices, and having lots of conversations. We would talk about their hurts, losses, sadness, anger, frustrations, pain, fears, laments, traumas, where God was absent, as well as joys, awe, wonder, excitement, hopes, strengths, and other such things. Our work as chaplains was supporting them in mending their sense of relationship with their spiritual lives, if they would let us. One definition of spirituality that I've held is what connects all of ourselves, our parts, into our beautiful one whole. What it all came down to in the end was helping people make meaning and some sense of their lives in their fullness. My saying that we are meaning-seeking, meaning-making, storytelling creatures comes directly from my work as a chaplain. The key, though, was that they had to let us. That was the very first piece on their journey toward healing, letting us participate and journey with them. And then they had to be willing to be vulnerable and honest and real, to be themselves. The first and sometimes only gift we had to offer was that choice, the gift of allowing them to set that boundary, to let us in or not. And regardless of their choices, we were always there to be available, to be present with and to them if they wanted it, and we defended their right to make their decisions. It's a small and simple act, but one not to be taken for granted. For people admitted to hospitals, there aren't so many choices in many things. I always viewed that need for consent to have a relationship with someone as their chaplain as a gift of freedom, a choice freely given with no strings and no expectations. With all the restrictions that come with a hospital admission, especially one where you were admitted against your will, this small act matters deeply. It restores a person's sense of agency in their lives, some measure of control, and reminds them that it is their relationship with themselves that matters most to their well-being and recovery. It is their story to narrate and direct as they see fit. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, an easy one to tie to our spiritual theme of nurturing beauty when things are good, but perhaps not as much so when things are not so good, as with the blue loon from our story. As someone who has lived with depression, complex PTSD, and neurodivergence for a large part, if not the whole of my life, I can say with absolute certainty that it is not always easy, and when I am experiencing the depths of an episode, they do not feel beautiful. And yet the coming together of this month and this theme have encouraged me to consider how it might be that the two commingle. Mental health or illness and behavior concerns range the gambit, from ADD and ADHD to dementia, cognitive impairments, anxiety, depression, autism, personality disorders, disordered eating, gambling and other addictions, grief, PTSD and traumas, schizophrenia, self-harm, suicidal ideation, postpartum depression, mood disorders, obsessive-compulsive disorder, sensory processing disorders, and many others. My relationships with mental health and illness are multifold, as I am not just someone who lives with them, but also one who has studied and learned about them clinically in order to help support and care for others. And still, there are so many questions. Even with years of therapy and more than 2 years of intensive chaplaincy training, I know that the slope to despair can be a slippery one. Alcoholics Anonymous's maxim that alcoholism is cunning, baffling, and powerful seems just as right on in describing depression. I don't know why I have experienced significant recovery when others who have worked just as hard have not. I do know that there is never one thing that works as a cure-all for one person, let alone a group or more. Even in the story earlier, it's a combination of the wise rock, the doctor, the mother, and practice that helps the blue loon find his grounding. But there is a beauty in those of us who live with and experience whatever we experience. Those of us who have mental illnesses, neurodivergences, and addictions often have a great degree of tenderness and are used to experiencing a wide range of emotions. The challenge of it being that for us, often the default, at least some of the time, is often on the mad, sad, scared side of the spectrum of feelings and emotions instead of the glad, excited, and curious side. There can be a shame or guilt that comes with mental illnesses, neurodivergences, and addictions. People, parents, siblings, friends, children, teachers, medical professionals, and others tell us or have us believe that we are broken or are failures, sometimes not in words, but in action. For example, I have been realizing over the last few years that I seem to have an auditory processing disorder. There's a slight delay in hearing and understanding what people say and my reacting unless I've anticipated what would be said correctly. I've had people repeat what they've said to me if I don't react immediately or respond in a way that's different than what they had expected, as if they're correcting me. The thing is that it's not that I didn't hear them, it's just that I hadn't processed what was said and been able to react yet. We UUs are not a perfect people, and there are plenty of ways that we continue to fail those of us with mental illnesses and neurodivergences. But perhaps you know the name Dorothea Dix, who had prominence and is well remembered on both the Union and Confederate sides of the Civil War, an unusual fact. She had been appointed superintendent of the Army nurses by the Union Army, setting rather strict for the time guidelines for nurse candidates. But she also made sure to provide care for the many Confederate troops who were wounded and left behind by retreating forces, as well as her own Union folks. It was this mercy that assured her legacy after the war. Dix's start, though, in social reform and the work she returned to after the war's end was especially among the mentally ill and poor. She traveled extensively, both in the US and abroad, in Canada, throughout Europe, Turkey, and Japan, to study the situations and solutions offered to those communities, where they were offered for the mentally ill and poor in those countries, to learn what might be best, and returned home to advocate for better care here. She did also continue to travel and share what she had learned with others around the world who consulted her expertise. It was Dix who worked for the establishment of mental asylums, which we could certainly say did not become what she had hoped or envisioned for those she wanted to serve, but they began as a dream for betterment for those in need. She was informed by these experiences and her passion for care, not only by her personal life, but as her values as a Unitarian. Today, ministers and lay people in our faith continue sharing about their experiences, their journeys with and through mental illness, neurodivergences, and addictions. A handful of books have been published in recent years, including a daily 12-step book of meditations about creating mental health support networks in congregations, about individuals' journeys with mental illness, and others. It's imperative to note that those of us who live with mental illnesses also have a wide variety of experiences and responses to this. I'll note especially the difference between the medical and social models of disability. Put simply, the medical model suggests that there is something wrong with you and seeks to fix you with medications and other modalities. The social model says the problem is not the individuals, but the way society has been structured, which doesn't support individuals' needs or the needs of those most marginalized in favor of the so-called majority, or the needs of those with the most privilege and power. People with mental illnesses, neurodivergences, and addictions are considered disabled, and just as with other marginalized people, as such, our lives and others, and even our own view of ourselves, often get compressed into memories of when we were at our worst, our least best selves, the least ourselves that we may ever be or have been. But it is especially important for us to remember that we are not just those moments, that our lives are full of other moments and feelings and emotions, and as bad as any moment can be, that we will also have good and better times. While church attendance is a spiritual practice for many, I want to say that it's not the only one we should have. Because of my neurodivergence, I know I don't listen well in this kind of setup. I never have, no matter how hard I try. And I know I'm not the only one. I know some people take notes to stay focused. Some people doodle. And if that's a practice you enjoy, I would encourage you to also consider Zentangle as another possible practice. I think of Zentangle as a drawing meditation. Barbara reviewed others that we might practice here or elsewhere. I want you to know that you are welcome here, and if there are ways that would be more helpful for you to be present that do not interfere with or harm others, I invite you to come more fully into this space. We have one knitter, and I watch as others practice what they need, getting up and moving around, reading the hymnals, even falling asleep. Know that I will not criticize or shame or guilt you for taking care of yourselves. Honestly, I am so grateful to watch people meeting their needs and being fully present to themselves. Neurodivergent people, which includes a whole spectrum of labels, including ADD, ADHD, autism, dyslexia and dyscalculia, obsessive-compulsive disorder, depression, anxiety, people who have experienced trauma, and other categories may especially benefit from alternative activities, knitting and crocheting, cross-stitching, doodling or sketching, coloring, and other things that I've probably not thought of. It is common in congregations to have what are called busy boxes for children when they're in the service, boxes containing paper and pencils, cars or trucks, silly putty, stickers, and other items to help keep them occupied. I've not understood why we wouldn't have such things available for adults as well, except that we have this idea that adults should have somehow moved beyond this need. Such thinking not only deeply impairs our ability to be welcoming and inclusive to those who find us, but is also antithetical to the fundamental beliefs of our faith, not least of all drawing on our first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of all people, and our first source, the direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. For myself, nothing would make me happier than to look out and see people engaging in their spiritual practices in the pews. Different modes and styles of participating matter to meeting our needs, nurturing a sense of wholeness and building a stronger, vibrant, and more diverse community. I'm going to close with a poem by Emily Kirchner titled, "A Poem for Those Who Have Been Asked, You're Autistic?" This is a poem for those who have been asked, "You're autistic?" So you're like Rain Man, right? And then you see their disappointment when you have to count on your fingers. Here's to those with abundant gifts stashed in one corner, and so people think you're lazy if you're not good at everything. Here's to those who yearned to be normal, then learned nobody is. Some are just good at pretending. Here's to those who pass as standard and suspect that life is a standardized test. Here's to the girls who don't fit glass slippers, who wear glass combat boots and stomp glass ceilings, who live in glass houses but are strong as stone. Here's to the women who write algorithms but never learned the code of girlhood, and the men who aren't considered real men because they don't bench press the weight of machismo and feel no need to pretend. Here's to the gay autistic folks who wonder how it's even cosmically fair to be judged for both. Here's to those with no diagnosis. Here's to those whose every grievance and conflict is blamed on a diagnosis. Here's to those whose mothers have said, "When I first learned of your condition, I went into mourning. It was like you had died." Here's to those who were told, "You'll never support yourself," and have decided to prove them wrong, however long it takes. Here's to those called over the top because you mimic without subtlety, like magnified reflections. Here's to those so plugged into your mental matrix that you don't notice the outside world full speed behind. Here's to those whose photographic memories are so high def, you get lost in frames of reference. Here's to those who waltz with linguistics and to those whose words escape like a refugee alphabet. Here's to those who name robots, computers, the cogs of cognition as dear friends navigating the digital dynasty. Here's to those who scaled the academic tower because it always had a right answer. And here's to those who never ascended it because you were your own school. Here's to you who see autism awareness stickers and ask why the symbol is a puzzle. You're not a mystery to be solved or a magic eye picture only clear from a distance. The world can see your whole picture if they let you paint it. You pack a punch, but you're no punchline. You are not a burden and you're not a failed adult. You're not an idiot savant or an idiot anything. I love you, and it took decades, but I love me too. They call autism a spectrum because we are a spectrum of light. Maybe we can't do everything, but we can live unapologetic beauty, lives dripping with flavor, rising like a kaleidoscope sun. If you would please join me in singing our closing hymn in the Teal hymnal, number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the thought of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
As always, I close with these words from Jean Harrison Newyar, who has written in The Gift of Faith. In the lore of ancient China, there is a story of a philosopher who was asked, "Where is the road called hope?" He replied, "It does not exist, but as people move forward upon it, it comes into being." I invite you to continue moving forward on this path, this journey, this road called hope with me.
Been torn apart, got so many scratches and scars. Maybe they won't all go away, but they'll fade. Maybe time will mend us together again. It's not what we've done or how far we've come. We will recover. The worst is over now. All those fires we've been walking through, and still we survive somehow. We will recover. The worst is behind, and it hurts, but in time I know that we will recover. Got so much to lose, seems I've lost my power to choose what to love and when to let go, but that's all changed. Get bitten once and then we're afraid. What a shame. But look what we've done and how far we've come. We will recover. The worst is over now. All those fires we've been walking through, and still we survive somehow. We will recover. The worst is behind, and it hurts, but in time I know that we will recover. Everybody's got a reason to cry, and everybody fights, but not everyone survives. Everybody's searching, for everybody finds, and I'm still in recovery, and I'm gonna make it out alive. We will recover. The worst is over now. All those fires we've been walking through, and still we survive somehow. We will recover. The worst is behind, and it hurts, but in time I know that we will recover.
We hope that you found meaning in today's service. And we close, extinguish the chalice. Yeah. I wasn't sure we didn't add that part. Okay. By Robin F. Gray. The flame is extinguished, but not our hope for the future, our courage in the face of crisis, or the love we share in all the world. Yes, we will do announcements. Today, the Social Justice Forum, if you choose to check that out after some coffee and a snack, Reverend Kristina will be speaking about ministers' discretionary fund. But have a snack and a cup of coffee first. If you haven't already, be sure to check the new eclectic works now on display in the forum room. See a photo and read more about it in this month's art wall for those of you online. Please check the Connections newsletter for details about other events and notices. And thank you again for attending.